Hello and welcome to the Unapologetic Moms Club podcast. I'm your host, Janine McKinnon, manifesting maven, lunar ritualist, nature lover, sex magic expert, and empowering sex, love, and relationship coach. If you'd like, you can think of me as your witchy bestie who calls you out on your self-deprecating cycles while encouraging you to align with your highest self. And I'm on a mission to help women return to the wisdom of their bodies and nature and to embrace their inner power. If you're a woo-woo mom craving more self-love, confidence, fulfillment, and passion in your life, you're in the right place. The Unapologetic Moms Club podcast is here to help moms like you to thrive as your most radiant and happy self. Here you can find inspiration and tools taken from my one-on-one coaching sessions and group experiences to support you in your journey. We'll cover things like societal conditioning, inner child healing, pleasure practices, manifestation techniques, approachable rituals, and all around women's empowerment. My goal is to shift your perspective and to give you actionable takeaways so you can walk away from these episodes feeling inspired to create a life that ignites your soul. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful we're able to connect in this way, and I can't wait to dig into the contents of this episode with you. Without further ado, let's get into it. Hello, beautiful. As you may have noticed by the new intro, I have decided to switch things up a bit on the podcast. But before I get into the full details of that, I want to lay a little bit of backstory. I'm so sorry. My dog has snuck downstairs and is walking around. So if you hear some nail clicking, that's what it is, and it should stop soon. So I love people's stories. From probably about 13 onward, I've loved biographies. I used to read them so much because I really love learning about where different people come from, the struggles they went through, their journey to get to their top level, the lessons they learned, their regrets, the advice they have to give. I just find it all so interesting and intriguing how so many different people from all different walks of life can just find their own meaning in life and the different path that takes them there. And that's what really inspired me to create the podcast around interview. And I feel so honored to have interviewed 59 incredible women and men over the last couple of years. The podcast used to be in a private community, and I was able to do 54 interviews there. We switched things up, brought it public, published a few of those favorite episodes before launching season 2 with some brand new interviews, and it has been an incredible journey. I feel like we have learned so much together. I know I sure have, and it's been so wonderful hearing about the impact that these different episodes and interviews have had on your lives. A few that really stand out is the This is a Vulva episode from Joe Corral, and getting the messages of just like, wow, I didn't understand my own body before. Like, I've been calling my vulva vagina my whole life and saying that to my kids, and that's just not what it actually is. And feeling seen and validated in things like vaginal discharge, and I just find that episode like so empowering, and I loved hearing how you found it that way as well. The sex positive monogamy episode with Katie is our top listened to episode, and that one was so fun to record with lots of great tips and tricks for a sex positive marriage, including things like straw breathing to help with edging, prolong that pleasure and more expansive pleasure. One of my favorite messages was talking about how she was listening to the episode in Costco, doing straw breathing while she walked along, doing her grocery shopping. So that was so much fun. And it also included like practical tips for having walking conversations with your partner and how to ease into those what can be kind of awkward or tough conversations. Erotic Blueprints is also another fan favorite, and I think the content within that is just so important because we are told or really programmed that our sexuality should be a certain way. And it really opens up your world when you can see all of the different ways that it actually is in different people, in different combinations. And again, can be so validating once you actually understand what your erotic blueprint is, and then have the understanding in how to work with that to your advantage for yourself and with your partner. It's just so helpful. And so these interviews have been amazing. I am so grateful to have connected with these women, to be able to bring this wide range of content to all of you. And as much as I love that part of this podcast, it is also time for a change. I'm ready to stand more confidently in my voice, sharing my passions and spreading my mission to empower women to return to the wisdom of their bodies and the earth, and to embrace the power that lies within. So through my years of content creating, I've seen the struggles moms face today. The juggle of raising kids while healing from your own childhood. The juggle of consciously raising kids while healing from your own childhood, making ends meet as a family while trying to uphold your connection together and your family values, being inundated by the doom and gloom headlines on social media, feeling disconnected from your body and who you are inside, and feeling like a good team with your partner in some ways, but also as distant co-parents or roommates in other ways. And it doesn't have to be that way. As so common all of those things are, it doesn't need to be your normal. We're not meant to just survive motherhood. We're meant to thrive. Thrive in a passionate marriage that lays the foundation for your family. Thrive as a patient and loving mom who feels deeply connected with her kids. Thrive as a multifaceted woman who understands the power and value she holds as the matriarch of her family. And I'm here to help more and more women transition into this state of thriving. And one way I plan on doing that is through this podcast, through personalized episodes of just me chatting with you, just like this, sharing inspiration and tools that I use with my one-on-one clients and group experiences. I hope you leave each episode feeling inspired and empowered in your journey of living a life that ignites your soul. So thank you so much for listening to this, for being here with me on this journey. I am so excited for where this podcast is going. I'm so excited for you and what's unfolding in your life as you absorb this content and create change. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, and I will stop rambling on. So without further ado, let's get into the meat of today's episode. Did you know your sexual energy is your life force energy? Unfortunately, most of modern society does not see it this way. They tend to see it as something to hide behind closed doors. This can often associate different feelings of embarrassment or shame or disgust around it. A lot of society, especially in terms of family life and motherhood, can be very dismissive of sexuality and sexual experiences. It's something frivolous or extra. Like, who has time for that when you are running the household, totally exhausted, overwhelmed? Sexuality is just some extra thing that is not necessarily a priority at this time in life. And unfortunately, that affects moms really negatively. I'm sure you can relate or think of other experiences where in their early 20s, these women have this sexual radiant spark within them. And that just fizzles out after motherhood. It correlates very closely with this pushing sexuality to the side. And there's definitely more to it than that. There's a lot of different components around family life and having support and needing self-care. But a part of embracing your sexuality and seeing your sexual energy as life force energy is you begin to put different supports in place that also support your self-care and pleasure practice, but support you in your everyday life as well. So I really do think they go hand in hand. And by ignoring your sexuality, by pushing it to the side, it can become this dark cloud over you in many ways. I see often that partners may show interest, express their needs, want to spark things up, and the mom is exhausted, just doesn't feel in the mood, and just keeps pushing it to the side, pushing it to the side. They're not interested, and they feel guilty that they're not into it. Sexuality becomes all about their partner, not about them. And it's this whole negative thought spiral that goes on. And it's just, that's not anything anyone really needs or wants in their life. Like, who wants this dark cloud hanging around them for this part that is innately part of us? Yet we have all these negative connotations around it. And so this whole thing creates this big block for a part of you. It blocks your sexuality. It blocks your connection with others. It creates, like I said, just this real dark and mental load that is associated with something that's an innate part of us. So today I'm challenging this narrative of the exhausted mom who just dismisses sex, that doesn't have time for it anymore. And I actually encourage you to look at your sexuality from a different lens and seeing that your sexual energy is your life force energy. And when you stop to really take a step back and think about it, like, this is so true. This is a Tao teaching. But when you really think about it, our sexuality is an innate part of us. It's how we connect with our partners, how we create these strong bonds that form the foundation of our family. It's how we create life. Like, we literally create life through our sexual energy. It is our life force energy. It is our creation energy. So not only can this energy be used to create human life, it can be used for different creative projects as well. I do find that the more women embrace their sexuality, the more their childhood creativity really starts to explode and come forward again, which is a really awesome kind of like side effect of embracing your sexuality. And so a really simple tool that can be used to start this connection with yourself, to start this connection with your sexual energy and your life force energy when you don't feel like you have a ton of time, especially busy mom life, I totally get it, is Yoni breathing. And before getting into Yoni breathing, I will just say I prefer to use the word Yoni to describe your vulva, your vagina, your cervix. Pussy is another awesome, strong word that many of my peers use, but for me, Yoni, it just has this beauty to it, this sacredness to it. I don't know if you know, but vagina, that word is actually derived from the meaning of a sheath for a sword. It's literally naming our female body parts as a resting place for a male's body parts. That to me is not empowering whatsoever. I do understand the empowerment around the word pussy. I used to feel a lot more uncomfortable around it, but given all of my schooling, all of this work that I now do, I'm very, very comfortable with it. But I just feel like Yoni, like I said, it has this sacredness to it. It, in Sanskrit, loosely means sacred womb space. So it's this beautiful thing. It's this sacred thing that is ours. Our sacred womb space. It's our portal to the divine. It's how we create life. So that's why I use the word Yoni. And so that's what you'll hear me using throughout these different podcast episodes. So anyway, Yoni breathing is a way for you to connect with your Yoni, to connect with your breath, your body, and your energy. So this is something I go more in depth in my upcoming free event, Revitalized Mom, Nourishing Through Pleasure. And so there's information on that in the show notes. But essentially, what you're doing is breathing in and out of your yoni. So for this, I invite you, I encourage you to close your eyes, take a moment to settle into your body, and I'll even walk you through it just for a minute here. And with each inhale, you breathe into your yoni space. You breathe that energy and life into that space. And as you exhale, you relax. You allow that energy to expand. Inhale, bringing that breath, bring that energy all the way down into your yoni. And on the exhale, allowing it to expand, to relax. Inhaling again one more time into your yoni space, into your vulva, your vagina, your cervix, your womb. Feeling that energy, that sensation starting to happen, to perk up. And exhaling, allowing it to expand, to relax, to circulate. And so that is just a very brief taste of what yoni breathing looks like. And so this can be done for as little as 5 minutes a day. You could do less if you wanted, but I do think 5 minutes is a very nice minimum, especially for busy moms. This is something you can do in the morning, before the kids get up, in the shower, before creative projects is another fun way. I like to use this tool to really connect with my creative life force energy. I, in fact, did it before recording this podcast. It can also be helpful to do before an important meeting, just really allowing you to ground and center into your being, into your feminine energy, your creative life force energy that is within you. And so when you do this, it allows you, one, to connect with your body. It allows you to connect with your yoni space. And I will say that there's a learning curve for this. If you are feeling super disconnected from your body, one, this is probably going to feel like weird and uncomfortable. Two, you might not notice that much going on. It might be hard to connect with your yoni and all of your different sexual organs. And that is completely normal, totally okay. That's why these things are practices. And there's something you come back to and revisit. And the more you do that, just like your yoga practice, you build that connection with it. You build that connection with your body. You begin to tap into your energy and it becomes more and more natural. And so the more you do this, it actually increases sensitivity to the area. So it can make sex more pleasurable as well. This foundation of this connection with the breath and your sexual energy and your yoni is actually the foundation for better, more expansive orgasms as well, which is really juicy and fun. It can also be the foundation for more advanced pleasure practices like sex magic and moving your energy through your chakras and things like that as well. But to start out, it's just this great way of connecting with yourself, connecting with your body, beginning to move that energy throughout yourself, increasing that sensitivity, and just really building a relationship with your feminine energy, with your sexual energy. So there is your little tidbit for today. I would love to hear your thoughts. Please shoot me a DM on Instagram at janine.mckinnon. I will leave the link in the show notes. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And I would love to see you at the free event coming up in January. So it's Revitalized Mom, Nourishing Through Pleasure. It is a fantastic 5-day free event coming up. If you are listening to this podcast months out, the recording is available for you. It is a free thing that I've made available to moms because I really see how important pleasure practices are, how impactful they are in really connecting with yourself, connecting with your body, feeling more energy, feeling revitalized, being able to show up as a better partner and mom and family member and friend. And it really has this beautiful ripple effect throughout your life. And it's just this very potent form of self-care. So much of self-care really is frou-frou and surface level, and I see that as more frivolous. And that is why I think doing pleasure practices like this is so important and should be a priority to connect with this life force energy within you, because it truly has that impact, unlike so many other self-care practices that are talked about day in and day out. So anyway, I could ramble on and on because I am so passionate about this, but I'd love to see you there. So if you're interested, click the link in the show notes. And again, I'm here and love to connect. Feel free to shoot me a DM on Instagram. Until next time, take care. Thank you so much for joining us inside the Unapologetic Moms Club podcast. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you feel called, I would so appreciate it if you shared about this episode in your stories or left us a review to help us reach more women on their unapologetic mama journey. As a thank you for your support, you'll be entered into our monthly draw for a free laser coaching session. Just tag @Janine.McKinnon in your story shares, or leave the rating or review, screenshot it, and email to Janine@unapologeticmotherhood.com to be entered. One lucky winner is selected every month for a focus coaching session to support you in working towards your current desires. Until next time, trust your inner wisdom and create some magic.